We got games to pick, and we have another really good appetizer this week. Virginia Tech at Miami is our appetizer. This is where, the same slot as Illinois, Nebraska last week. Virginia Tech at Miami. Miami is a 17.5-point favorite. Virginia Tech coming off a tough loss to Rutgers, which, we said before the season that was going to be a tough game for the Hokies. Going to be a toss-up. They end up losing by 2. The Miami thing's interesting. So Miami was playing USF on Saturday, and at one point USF led that game 15-14 in the second quarter. And Miami ended up winning 50-15. Yeah. The just go off and explode potential of Miami with Cam Ward running the show is really big.
Yeah, well, here's the excuse me. The thing about this game on Friday night is that I am in a position right now where Clemson is starting to scare me a little bit in the ACC, right? Like, it was easy to write them off after week 1. They're scoring 59 points in consecutive games. You're looking at their schedule, and it's getting harder and harder to say that Miami is the best team without a question in that conference right now, right? Like, if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, will Miami beat Clemson? I'd be like, yeah. Now it's more of a question. So when we talk about Miami as an ACC favorite, when we talk about Miami as a potential top 4 seed in this college football playoff, and really start viewing them as a team that isn't going to choke, but is actually really good, you want to see them come out on a national television audience and take care of a team that they're unquestionably better than. And this is going to be tricky because I know, you took the bait. I took the bait. There was a thought there that Virginia Tech was going to surprise some people this year and be a very good football team. Obviously, that hasn't gotten off to the right start there. They're 2-2, and they've lost to Vanderbilt and Rutgers, which sounds way worse than it probably is. But still, you want to see Miami come out and take care of business. You want to see Cam Ward have another 350, 400-yard game in a conference game. Like, it's one thing to watch a team, just blow out teams that can't compete. But on the right night, Virginia Tech could probably beat anybody in that conference. I don't know if you still agree with that, but that's what I think. You want to see Miami assert itself, flex its muscles, and show the country that they're a legitimate team to be considered a not just a playoff team, but a team that can win a few in the playoff and maybe get to the Final Four and beyond. So they've done a really good job, as we've noted, watching them play Florida in week 1 with their lines. They have explosive playmaking ability at the wide receiver position. Xavier Restrepo, I think, is a player that should be a star and known nationally, and I'm not sure that if he is yet. Their running backs are really good, and of course, they've got Cam Ward. So, I've got high hopes for this team, and I think Friday night's a good chance to show the entire country, while they're not just watching the box scores update on Saturday, what it looks like to watch them on TV.
The best daily fantasy game in America. Use the code Staples, play $5, get $50 instantly. This past weekend, I used that almost free Caleb Williams square to pick a winner. I had a four square play. Producer River showing the 5 square play that I gave out that where only 2 of them hit. Yeah, that wasn't my best work. Ari told me don't pick a kicker. Stay away from the kickers. I picked USC's kicker. I was sure he was going to have a couple field goals and an extra point. And it turned out that they stopped needing to kick field goals because they started scoring touchdowns. And then, that didn't work. But I did have a winner. That's also not the winner, Producer River. There's the winner. There's the winner. Thanks to that almost free Caleb Williams square where all he had to do was throw for a yard. But Nate Noel just tearing it up for Missouri against Vanderbilt. Garrett Nussmeier, I'm very confident in Garrett Nussmeier. And then Garrett Green, the West Virginia quarterback, they were in a fight with Kansas going into the second half. So I did more than 19.5 rushing yards in the second half. And sure enough, Garrett Green, White Lightning, came through for me. So that's how you play Prize Picks. You pick as few as 2 squares. You pick more. The more you pick, the higher the potential payout. It's so much fun. Makes watching the games very entertaining. And again, every week in September, you've got the almost free Caleb Williams square. And that was very helpful. 1 yard equals 1 win. So 1 more of those. And that's coming up this week. So Caleb Williams can bail you out if you're not super confident, I think, as long as he throws for a yard. Well, that's the thing. If Miami is what we think they are, they cover this spread. Like they beat Virginia Tech comfortably. If they are who we think they are. If they are still not quite there yet, this is going to be a struggle. This is going to be a close game. I don't know who wins it, but I think that's the question you have to ask yourself is, has Miami gotten over that hump? Are they now the type of team that we should expect to compete for the ACC title, to expect to compete for the playoff, to expect to maybe compete for the national title? And listen, I've said with this Miami team that the way they play on both lines of scrimmage, it makes them a little recession proof. It makes it where it's hard to have a stinker. If you just physically dominate someone up front, it's harder to have a stinker. And so that causes me to lean toward taking Miami to cover, even though this is an obscene amount of points for a conference game on a Friday night.
Yeah, it is a lot of points, but two thoughts on Cam Ward here real quick too, Andy. So I think you and I both in the On3 Heisman watch put Cam Ward in the top 3. I think he was number 2 for both of us. And I don't know if you read those mentions, but I do because I can't control myself. And there are a lot of people who are like, Cam Ward's a fraud. Cam Ward's not as good as he looks. Like he's going to turn the ball over in big games, like all the usual Cam Ward things that you would expect. But then on the other hand, I don't know how closely you watched Miami play in that 50-15 win. But did you see that lateral that he made on Saturday night?
Yes,
I
sure did.
Man's feeling himself a little bit. Like I don't know what the ceiling is for Cam Ward's stardom this year, but I think Friday night could be a first audition for being one of the faces of the sport if he goes out and shows out.
Well, I think what happened with Cam Ward, and this could still happen when Miami plays really good teams. We don't know this yet. But at Washington State, he would be feeling himself and he'd put the ball in harm's way. Mm-hmm. And he didn't have the kind of teammates around him that he has now. So he has teammates that when he does get a little bit loose with it, keep him out of trouble in this case. That may not be like, let's say they have to play Clemson in the ACC championship game, or they make the playoff and they have to play one of these superpowers from the SEC or the Big Ten. They might not be able to bail him out in that case. It may look like the Cam Ward from Washington State. But right now, when he's surrounded by all these great players against lesser competition, he can get away with almost anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I don't know. How do we view Virginia Tech in terms of whether that should be a tough game? Because you look down at the spread. And let me ask you this. If the spread was Miami minus 7.5, would you be like, whoa, that's way too low? Like that to me is, I think that would have been appropriate. That would have probably been something that I would have thought. And granted, I know Virginia Tech has lost to 2 teams that are usually embarrassing to lose to. I don't know that they're as embarrassing to lose to this year as they've been in the past. But so I don't know, like this spread makes me feel like Miami is as good as they are, as I've said they are, as that I've been fooled, like I haven't been fooled. Like after the first game of the season, I'm like, holy crap, this team is really, really good. Now we've gotten more context on what Florida is, so it kind of takes away a little bit, but like 17.5 points is a very large spread for a conference game, like you said, on Friday night.
Yeah, the Friday night piece of it, I know a lot of people don't care. I do take that into account because teams know when they are the team that everyone in the country is watching. And I feel like that makes teams play better sometimes. Like the team that is not expected to win tends to play better in situations like that because they know everybody they've ever met is watching them right now.
I mean, I think Miami's fortunate this game isn't in that big old stadium with Enter Sandman this weekend. Lane Stadium would have been rocking.
It would have. It would have. So, and then, Virginia Tech kind of, they sort of pioneered the weeknight conference game in the ACC. But I do think Miami is, I think Miami's what we thought. And I'm going to believe that until they prove me wrong. So I'm going to take Miami to cover here.
I think I am going to take Virginia Tech to cover here, Andy, because I just think the points
it's a lot of points.
Too many points. I think Miami can win this game by 16 and have a very impressive outing and Cam Moore can have a good game, but I just covering the 17.5, it seems like a lot of points to me. So it's not a doubt that Miami's going to win. I think they'll win comfortably, but I could see them being up, 24 in the fourth quarter and giving up a late score there and not covering the spread.